Hello, and welcome to the part 3 of my Maya 2010 render passes tutorial. So we left off by shading our scene and applying different types of material to the objects in our scene so we can create slightly interesting renders. So what I want to do right away, it's going to sound really weird, but I looked into it, and since I don't want to cover in detail how caustics and different light effects works, we're gonna just gonna go ahead and grab this stories and simply hide it, or just you can just delete it. Now let's render our scene. All right, that's where we left off. There's nothing interesting, so let's start. So we're gonna start with grabbing our light and into the here in the shadow attributes, let's go to the ray trace submenu and enable ray trace shadow. We're gonna give it a few rays. 15 is a good number for testing and high-speed renders, and we're gonna increase the ray depth limit to 3. That way our shadows are going to be visible in reflections. So let's render and see what it looks like. Alright, so now we have our light shooting some shadows, and they're very smooth. Right now, they're still quite grainy. You can see it on the, but it doesn't matter right now because it's just for testing purposes. So let's go ahead and do the next part where we're going to enable global illumination in our scene. So once again, with the light selected, we're going to close the shadow submenu and go into the Mentare here, Mentare, global caustics and global illumination, and we're going to emit photons. Right off the bat, I want to increase the photon intensity to 12,000. That way the energy of our photons bouncing around will be much greater. Once again, this is completely independent from the light intensity. So the actual brightness of the light is independent from the photons that it shoots. So we're going to have to go into our render settings, into the indirect lighting, and enable global illumination. I know that I want a radius of 5. Once again, don't worry if I don't explain what's going on. I'll do more tutorials later on about specifics of global illumination, caustics, and different render effects and render optimization. Right now we just want to set up our scene to be able to do render passes, which is the goal of this tutorial. I'm going to slightly go into the quality tab and slightly increase the quality right away. So I'm putting the min-max simple to -1.1 and the multi-pixel filtering to Mitchell 544. Alright, let's render this. Good stuff. Now we have our light shooting photons around, which are being bounced around the scene. You can see we have some blue contribution on this red wall, and we also have a slight red contribution on this blue wall, as well as on both objects. They receive secondary rays or secondary photon bouncing on them. So let's go ahead and just slightly increase the render quality of this. So let's go back to our area light, and here since we enabled global illumination into the render globals, now the global illumination photons are active. 10,000 can be enough. Now we can go ahead and do a lot of optimization passes on this, but I just want a result right now, so let's put it to 50,000. That way there's going to be much more photons being bounced around, which is going to automatically increase the quality but also the render time. Let's retry. Alright, good stuff. Now we have a much smoother contribution of our photon in our scene. Now the next step is I'm going to enable, once again into the indirect lighting, we're going to simply enable final gathering. We're going to put an accuracy of 500. We're going to add secondary diffuse bounces to 2. And by doing this, we need to go into the gathering tracing and increase to 2. 2, and 4 for the trace max trace depth. Okay, now we can close this. Into our global illumination submenu, we're going to increase the accuracy to 1000. Okay, and let's go to our quality tab and just increase the quality again. Okay, I just changed the min max to 0, 2, which is basically standard for high quality anti-aliasing. So let's close this and let's render. This might take a little bit, so I'll see you on the other side. Alright, our render is done. It's nice and smooth, really high quality, and it took 6 minutes 28 seconds, which is quite more than what we had before. So this is it for this part. I hope you enjoyed it. It was once again very simple. The whole purpose of this tutorial is to talk about render passes, which is the next part. And yeah, I'll see you soon for the render passes, which is going to be maybe in a few parts where we're going to optimize our render slightly and then start doing the render passes. And last but not least, we're going to bring all those frame buffer images into a compositing package and rebuild this image with much more control and a few more effects. So thank you. I'll see you soon.